Morning, students. So today I'm talking about the IP version 4. IPv4 means IP version 4 addresses. As we know, when we were discussing in the TCP/IP layer, we have seen different types of addressing schemes. Uh, this IPv4 addressing, that is IP protocol address, is the job of network layer, or in TCP/IP, it is the IP layer addressing. So we also have some other addresses like MAC address in data link layer and port address in the other layers like transport layer. So in today's discussion, we will be talking only about IP version 4 addresses. So IPv4, in short, we call it as IPv4 address is a 32-bit address. Okay, this will uniquely and universally define a connection of the host or a router in the internet. Okay, that means the IPv4 address is unique. It can define a unique computer or unique host in the internet. Okay. If your computer is connected to an internet, or if a mobile phone is connected to the internet, so that device will have an IP address. It is the 32-bit address. Right now, in the worldwide, we are using IP version 4 addresses. Of course, there is a next version. It is called IPv6 address. It's also there. It just started. In IPv4, it's a 32-bit address, whereas IP version 6 is a 128-bit address. Now, in IP version 4, since it is 32-bit address, how many addresses we can have in the address space? We can have 2 to the power of 32. You can see here, it's a very large number. 2 to the power of 32 addresses we can have in this address space. Or in general, if a protocol uses B bits to define an address, then the total address space is 2 power B, because in binary each bit can take 0 or 1. Okay, like that it goes up to 2 to the power of 32 addresses. Now, how do you represent the IPv4 address? We have different ways of mentioning that. Of course, in the system, it is represented using binary notation, using 32 bits. So it can also be represented using dotted decimal notation or hexadecimal notation. So generally, it is represented using dotted decimal notation in all the literatures. Okay, the textbook or in any of the literature, because it's very easy to read and understand. Because if you use a 32-bit binary address, it's very difficult to interpret and identify. So therefore, it is generally represented using this. This particular diagram, you can see the binary address, its address, the 32-bit address, IPv4 address, you can see here. This is the first byte, or it's called first octet in the address. This is the second byte or second octet, like that third octet, fourth octet. Here. And the same address can be represented using dotted decimal notation. That is, the first octet or the first byte is represented using its hexadecimal equivalent. For example, you see here, the hexadecimal equivalent of this octet or the first byte is 128. Similarly, the hexadecimal equivalent of the second byte is 11 here. This is the hexadecimal equivalent of the third byte, that is 3, and the last byte, it is this one. Okay. So this particular notation is called as dotted decimal notation. Dotted decimal notation. So you can see each the dot is separating each byte here. Each byte is represented using decimal number. And now the question here is, what is the largest number you can have and what is the smallest number you can have here for each byte? See, the largest number when all the bits are 1, all the 8 bits are 1. So its decimal equivalent will be equal to 255 here. Okay, that is the largest number what we can have for the first byte. Similarly, the smallest number when all the bits are zeros here. So that means this the decimal equivalent of that is equal to 0. So in other words, each byte, in each byte you have a smallest number 0, the largest number will be 255. Like that in every byte you have. Okay. The another representation is the hexadecimal notation. So this 80, you can see that 80 is the hexadecimal equivalent of the first byte. So you can see here, how do you write that? That is 1000. That is the first nibble here. 1000. From the left side, first nibble is 8. Second nibble is all zeros, that is 0. So 80 is the hexadecimal equivalent of the first octet. Similarly, 0B here is the hexadecimal equivalent of the second one, like that third and fourth you can see here. So generally this is a notation. This is the dotted decimal notation is generally used while configuring the network. You can see your laptop or computer or mobile phone is connected to the internet. You go to the network properties, you can see the IP address there. Okay, IP address is either allotted by the ISP or if it is a private network, it's a network admin. So this kind of address you can see there. Now in the each address you have it's a 32-bit address. In each address we have 2 fields here. 2 fields. So now we are talking about 32-bit. We are not talking about decimal dot notation. We are talking about binary notation. So in the binary notation, the address will have 2 fields. The first field is called prefix. That is n bits prefix. And suffix, it is the remaining bits in 32-bit. That is 32 minus n bits. The suffix. Now what is that prefix? The prefix defines a network. Defines a network. Okay. That means if your computer is connected to a network, for example, if your computer in the Cambridge, assume that you are working in a lab. If the computer is in the lab is connected to the Cambridge network, the Cambridge network will have an address assigned by the internet service provider. Internet service provider will be like Airtel or Jio, whoever the service provider it is. Okay, so they will allot one address. That is a network address. Okay. Then in the Cambridge network, your computer is connected to the Cambridge network router. So that computer will have a unique IP address. Okay, your suffix will represent, suffix will define your host. So therefore, here I'll repeat this. Your 32-bit address will have 2 fields. The first field n bits, that is prefix, that will define a network. Okay. Then the remaining bits, 32 minus n bits, is a suffix that will define a connection to the node. It will define a connection to the node, to the network. Okay. Now we have, there are five classes of addresses, IP addresses. That is called classful addressing scheme. Classful addressing scheme of IP version 4. So here we'll have 5 different classes. Depends. Let us see what is that. So that scheme is called as classful addressing scheme. Okay. Why it is there? We have there are large number of networks. There are small number of networks. There are some medium number of hosts will be there in the network. Small organization, medium organization, large organization. Okay? Like that, depending on the organization strength, these particular class of address will be assigned by the internet service provider. So now let us see what are these addresses. Carefully, see this. There are 5 classes. In the class A address, okay, class A address, it will always start with 0. Okay, starts with 0. That is, the MSP of that address will be always 0. Okay, and the first 8 bit is the prefix. First 8 bit, you can see here in the table, prefix is n bits, n equal to 8 here, and the remaining bits are suffix bits. That is how many bits? Remaining 24 bits here. Okay, remaining 24 bits. That means, see here, you see this first sentence. Here, how many addresses you can have? 2 to the power of 7. See, this basically the prefix defines how many addresses we can have, how many networks we can have, not address, how many networks. So with just here, you can have 128 networks, 2 to the power of 7. Why it is 7? Because this 0 is fixed. This 0 is fixed, remaining 7 bits are there. So therefore, 2 to the power of 7 equal 128 networks can have. That means only in the worldwide, only 128 organizations can have class A address. Class A address. And each organization can have 2 to the power of 24 host addresses, in other words. Okay. 2 to the power of 24, see that very large number it is. 2 to the power of 24. That means an organization can go up to 2 to the power of 24 host connections. It's a very large number. Okay. So we'll talk about that little later, the disadvantage of that. Similarly, class B you can see here. The first 2 bits, 1, 0, first 2 bits, just these 2 bits will identify the class B address. Then we have prefix. There are 16 bits prefix and the remaining 16 bits are suffix. That means they can have 2 to the power of 14, excluding these 2 bits. 2 to the power of 14, that's equal to 16,384. 16,384 organizations can have these class B addresses in the worldwide. Okay, each address or each organization can go up to 2 to the power of 16. Why 16? Because there are 16 suffix bits here. Okay, 16 suffix bits. So each organization go up to 2 to the power of 16 host connections in their organization. Okay. Then here, class C address. The first 3 bits are used to identify the class C address. 110. If the address starts with 110, then it is recognized as class C address. Okay, there are 24 bits are allotted for prefix and the remaining 8 bits for suffix. Now you see the class C, you can have 2 to the power of 21, excluding these 3 bits, you will have 21 bits. 2 to the power of 21, 2 to the power of 21, it's a large number again, you can see here. It is about 20,97,152. These many organizations can have class C address in the worldwide. And there are 8-bit suffix here. 8-bit suffix. With this 8-bit suffix, each organization can have 2 to the power of 8 equal to 256 host connections. Okay. Now you can see this all the 3 cases. In this first case, you can see very small number of, there is only 128 networks in the worldwide, but each network can have very large number of hosts. Okay, that means this particular class A addresses can be used for a large organization where there are huge number of hosts to be connected in the worldwide. Okay, then the second one can be connected to medium range organizations, because we have here we can have up to the power of 16,384 networks in the worldwide, and each network can go up to the power of 16, that is 65,536 nodes. So this can be used for an ordinary medium scale organizations. Whereas class C address, we have large number of networks we can have here. We can go up to 20 lakh and more than that. But each network can have only 256. That means a small organization can use this class A addresses. Okay. So we have some limitations here using these addresses. So we can't change the prefix. It will be either 8 here or 16 here or 24 bits. Okay. And large number of addresses are maybe unused. For example, if you take that in let us say the second case itself, in the class B, okay, where each host can go up to 65,536 hosts. That is 2 power 16 here. Okay. Assume that an organization, ordinary organization, can have only up to 20,000 hosts. In ordinary organization, will have up to 20,000 hosts. So, but the remaining 46,536 addresses are unused. So they cannot be used by any other organization. They're unused, simply wasted. Okay. So that is a limitation of using this classful address. For that reason, we have a classless scheme. So we will discuss that little later now. Okay, what are the disadvantages? This is a major disadvantage what I explained now. Okay, how to overcome this disadvantage? We have a classless scheme, where in that case we have a variable prefix. Okay, now let me continue this further. There are 2 more addresses here. Okay, class D address. Class D address where the first 4 bits will be identified with 1110. It is called multicast address. Okay, it is used for multicast address where we don't have prefix and suffix here. Okay, multicast address. That means from one host it can be sent to all other hosts or a group of hosts in a network. That is called multicast communication. Okay, so we do it in the WhatsApp group. No, one person is sending and all others will receive that one particular group. So that is called multicast communication. Similarly here, one host can send a message to a group of hosts. So that type of communication is called multicast addresses. Okay, class D address is used for that purpose. Okay. Similarly, the one more, the last one, where its address starts with 1111, the 4 ones. That particular address is a class E address, and this has got some special use. It is not used, it is used reserved for the future use. It may be used for some research purpose or implementation of the new protocol, or maybe different purpose they are used. Okay. So these are the 5 addresses. Now you have another method of identifying these class addresses. See, apart from 0, 1, 0, the first bits, first 1, 2, or 3 or 4 bits, you have, by just looking into the first octet or first byte, you can simply say whether this address belongs to A or B or C or D or E. Now, if an address in the first byte is between 0 and 127, here, if it starts from 0 and ends with 127, the first octet lies in between 0 and 127, then that address belongs to class A. Remember, we have to see only the first byte here. Similarly, if the first byte starts with 128 and ends with 191, or between 128 and 191, it is class B address. Similarly, you can see for class C, it is between 192 to 223. For class D, 224 and 239. Class E, 240 to 255. So that is derived here in the first byte, excluding this the first fixed number of 1, 2, or 3, or 4 bits. It is calculated. Okay. So this is a disadvantage what I was talking here earlier. In the some of the addresses are not used in the organization. Okay. So now, in order to address that, you have some other scheme called classless. Apart from this, you will also have some advantages. Okay, advantage of this. Advantage is it is obsolete now, of course, but it is given an address, very easy to find the class of the address. As I mentioned earlier, just looking into the first byte, we can easily identify the address. And since prefix and suffix length are fixed, we can find the prefix length immediately. It is already known. Prefix length and suffix length already predefined. It is known. Or in other words, the prefix length in the classful address is inherent in the address itself. No extra information is needed to extract the prefix and suffix. So we don't have to know the extra information to extract this prefix and suffix information. So it is already inherited in the address itself because their length is fixed. Now let us look at this some of the examples. I'll just go through one or two in this. So here, rewrite this particular the first problem. Rewrite the following IP addresses using binary notation. Binary notation. How do you convert this into binary? See here, the first it is in the decimal dotted notation. The first number here 110. So I have to convert that into, see, it is done here. I have already solved this. So it is done using binary. You have to convert that into binary. Okay. After converting, you get 1101 110. There are only 7 bits. You have to prefix 10 here to make it 8 bits. Okay. That is equal to 110. Similarly, this is the binary equivalent of 11. This is binary equivalent of 5 represented using 8 bits. This is binary equivalent of 88. Okay. So this is how you represent. Remember, here it should be always 8 bits. Okay. If it is not 8 bit, for example, here it is not 8 bit, only 4 bits. 3 bits are sufficient to represent 5. You have to prefix the remaining 5 bits to make it total 8 bits in that byte. Similarly, the second one you can see here. The second problem here is rewrite the following IP addresses using dotted decimal notation. Rewrite the following IP address using dotted decimal notation. Here, the IP addresses are given in the form of binary. You have to convert that binary into its equivalent decimal, dotted decimal notation. So now here, this one, the first octet, its decimal, you have to convert that into decimal number, that is 94. Okay. Similarly, here you can see, you know how to convert this, right? You already learned this, very basic. So this is the 176 is the binary equivalent, like that, third, fourth, and we can see here. Similarly, the second problem. As I already mentioned, the largest number what you can have here is 255 when all the bits are 1. Okay, that is, even if this bit is also 1, then all the bits will be 1. It will be 255 is the largest number. You cannot have 256. If an address has 256 decimal number, then it is invalid address. The third problem here is find the class of the following classful IP address. We have to now identify the class. As I've already mentioned, by just looking into the first byte or the first octet, we can easily identify the class of that address. As we have already shown in the previous page, it starts from 0 to 127. It is class A. Like that, the remaining classes are given here. You see the first byte, it is 130. So 130 is between here in this. It is between 128 and 191. So therefore, it belongs to class B. Similarly, the second one, it is 200. That belongs to class C address. 245, the third address, 245. So that belongs to class E. Then 110, it is between 0 and 127. So therefore, it belongs to class A. So this is the address is given in decimal dotted notation. By just looking into the first octet, you can easily identify the class. Now the second problem here, the address is given in the form of binary notation. You have to find the class. How do you find? By just looking into the first bits, first 1 bit or 2 bit or 3 bit or 4 bits. Now you see here, you have to see the, how do you identify first bit 1? Okay, so it is not class A, it may be class B or class C or class D, class E. See the second one, second bit 1 1. So it is not class A, class B. It is either class C, class D or class E. Then go for the third bit 110. 110, it will be either class D or class E. Then go the fourth bit also you take 1110. So therefore it is 1110, it is class D. Similarly, class C. How do you identify class C? First C1, so it's not class A, it may be next 4, any one of the next 4. Again 1 1. So it is not A and B, it will be either C, D or E. 110, so 110, it is there in the class C, so therefore it belongs to class C address. Similarly, you see here, the fourth one, by just looking at the first bit is 0. First bit is 0. So therefore it is 0 here. By just checking the first bit only, we can identify the class. Class A it is. So 1111, here you see, just keep on scanning from the first bit. So it belongs to class E. 1 0, so it belongs to class B. So now let us go for the okay. Anybody has a doubt here in the class full addressing scheme?
No, sir.
No doubt, right? So shall we proceed for the next one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So as we have mentioned, there are some disadvantages in the classful addressing scheme because of the fixed length of prefix and suffix. There will be some addresses which are wasted. Okay. Now to avoid that, there is one more scheme, that is classless scheme is introduced. In this, the prefix length in the class address is variable. You can have any length from 0 to 32. Okay. Prefix length can be anything. The size of the network is inversely proportional to the length of the prefix. That means a small prefix means larger network. A large prefix means smaller network. Okay. Small prefix means you have only 8-bit prefix. Then you will have only 2 to the power of 8. That is 256 networks. Okay, that is small prefix. A large prefix, assume that there are 24 bits prefix. In this case, 2 to the power of 24 is a very large number of networks we can have. So therefore, it is inversely proportional. Small prefix means large networks. Large prefix means small network. So now, how do you represent this? Because the prefix length is not known here. So to identify the prefix length, we use a slash notation. Slash notation along with the address. So that slash n you write at the end, you can see here. Okay, some of the examples which are given here. So here 12.24.76.8. So this is the IP address. /8 means this 8 is the length of the prefix. Okay. So in the last example here, the prefix length is 25. So this is, here we have small networks. Here we'll have large, okay, number of networks. Okay. So this is also called as another name for this slash notation, or formally it is called as classless interdomain routing. Classless interdomain routing, or CIDR. It is also called as CIDR strategy, where prefix length n, it is not fixed, it is represented using slash notation. Now here we need to know, we will not be knowing what is the first address, what is the last address in the given scheme. So we need to extract the information from the given address. Suppose an address is given to an organization. Okay, assume that an address is assigned to an organization like Cambridge by the ISP, the Internet Service Provider. Then we need to find what is the starting address, what is the last address in that. What is the starting address and what is the last address in the range of addresses where we can use in that organization. Now we have some simple calculations here. The total number of addresses in the block is equal to it is calculated like this. The total number of addresses in the block, it is represented here using n equal to 2 power 32 minus n, because there are total 32 bits are there, minus n. What is n? N is the number of bits used for prefix. So therefore the remaining bits here are the total number of addresses. Or in other words, for example, if I take n is equal to, let us say 24, n is equal to 24. So 2 to the power of 32 minus 24 is equal to 2 to the power of 8. That is equal to 256. So we can have 2 to the power of 8 equal to 256 addresses with slash 24 addresses, slash 24 notation. Okay, that is the total number of addresses in the block. Similarly, we have to find the first address. How do you first find the first address? The first address, we keep the n leftmost bits and set the 32 minus n rightmost bits all to zeros. Okay, we keep the n leftmost bits. You see this example. Here, this is prefix n bits, remaining 32 minus n bit, that is suffix. Here, how do you find the first address? You see that. Retain this as it is, prefix as it is, and rightmost bits all zeros. 32 minus n rightmost bits all to zeros. That you have to make all zeros here. Okay, so that will give you the first address. Similarly, the last address. How do you find the last address? Again, keep the n leftmost bits as it is and set the 32 minus n rightmost bits all to ones. That is, you have to retain all these bits as it is till here. Then you have to make ones here. Ones here. So that is your last address. You can see here. You have to make 0 here and make that will give you the first address, and make all ones here, and that will give you the last address. Retain the prefix as it is. Okay. That way we can find the first address and last address of the organization. Now see this example. This is the address. A classless address is given to, this is the address. Okay. And slash 27. Here the small n. What is small n? The number of bits in the prefix or prefix length is 27. We can find the above 3 pieces of information. The number of addresses in the network we can find as we mentioned earlier using this formula. That is 2 power 32 minus n. There's a small error here in the notes. This should go to the power here. Okay, correct that. It is 2 to the power of 32 minus n. It is. And minus n is in the power. So our n is 27 here. So 32 minus 27, it is equal to 2 power 5, equal to 32 addresses. So here this organization can have only 32 addresses, a very small address. Then how do you find the first address? As mentioned here in the diagram. Here the 27 bits till where this is the address which is given, okay, converted into binary form. You can see this is nothing but 167. This is the second octet, 199. This is the third octet, 170. This is the fourth octet, 82. Okay. And how do you find the first address? Retain this one till here, 27 bits as it is till here. Retain 27 bits till here as it is. Okay, and the remaining remaining 32 minus n, that is 5 bits, all zeros. So now if you convert this into the decimal not in notation, you will get different value here. That is 167, 199, 170, and the last octet, see here, it changes now. It is 64. So 64 is the decimal equivalent of this. Okay. So this is the first address. Similarly, how do you find the last address? Again, the last address, how do you find? As mentioned in the previous diagram, retain here as it is 27 bits and make the remaining 4 bits, sorry, 5 bits here, remaining 5 bits all ones. So now if you convert that, the first octet is 167, second octet is 199, the third octet here till here it is 170, but the last octet from the right it is first octet, so 95. So that is, this is the hexadecimal equivalent of this is 95. Okay, so this is how you find the first address, last address, and the total number of addresses in a given address. Okay. Now we have to use an address mask. Okay, we have to use the address mask, where using this address mask we can easily find the first address and last address. The computer will do some NOT and OR operation using this mask internally, because all these protocols are internally implemented using software. Okay, so for easy implementation purpose, this mask is identified. So using that mask, we can easily find the first address, last address, and also the total number of addresses. So that is, using mask is another way of finding the first address and last address. Now, how do you find the mask? The address mask is a 32-bit number again, in which n leftmost bits are set to ones, and the rest of the bits, 32 minus 1 are 32 minus n, are set to zeros. Okay, that is nothing but mask. For example, in the above example itself, okay, if slash n is slash 27, then you have to make all these till here 1, make all ones, and rest bits zeros here. Okay, this should be zeros, and 27 bits all ones, and the remaining 5 bits all zeros. Okay, that is the mask. That is called network mask. Okay, is it clear, everybody? So this till here up to 27, because n is 27 here, all ones, the remaining are here zeros. That is a mask. Okay. Then how do you find that? Okay. See, the first address is in the block. We can find like this. It is n equal to not of mask. You have to not of mask. You have to not. That is, you have to invert all these bits till here. Till here, you have to invert all these bits. 27 bits. Okay, convert that into the decimal equivalent, add 1 to it, so that will give you the total number of addresses in the block. Okay, I'll repeat this. How do you find the total number of addresses? You have to invert all the n bits, where n is the length of the prefix, invert them, then all the bits, of course, not only that, all the bits you have to invert, convert that into decimal equivalent, not byte by byte, total equivalent, decimal equivalent of the total 32-bit number plus 1. So that will give you the total number of addresses. Then how to find the first address? See, you take any address in the block. For example, here you take this address. It's a given address, any address in the block, and you have already found the mask. You already found the mask. Perform AND operation between them. Perform AND operation between them. That will give you the first address. Then how do you find the last address? You take any address like this, any address you take. Then you have to take the knot of mask, not the mask itself. It is a knot of mask. You have to invert every bit of mask. Then with that you have to perform the AND operation with any address in the block. So that will give you the last address. So this is another way of finding the first address, last address, and the total number of addresses in the block using the network mask. Now let us take some examples here. Simple examples. See, the first example here, in classless addressing, what is the size of the block n if the value of the prefix length is small n is one of the following? Okay. The first case, it is n equal to 0. So here we are using this formula, n equal to 2 to the power of 32 minus n. So in the first case, n is 0. That means there is no prefix. Okay. So when you substitute that in the formula, you get 2 to the power of 32. So that is the size of the block, that many number. Similarly, n equal to 14, you have to substitute here, you get 18. So like that, the remaining examples also. And next problem here, in classless addressing, what is the value of prefix length n if the size of the block is one of the following? Here, small n is given. You have to find the size of the block, that is, capital N. So in the first case, sorry, the other way it is, you have to find a small n. You have to find the prefix length n and size is given. So in the first case, n is 1. The formula is same again. N is 1. So 1 equal to 2 to the power 32 minus n. So that formula is converted like this: 2 power 32 divided by 2 power n. 2 power n equal to 2 power 32. So after simplification of the formula, you get like this. So n is 32. Similarly, in the second case, n is 1024. So this is your n. And after simplification, left hand side you have n. 1024 is nothing but 2 power 10 equal to 2 power 32 divided by 2 power n. And you can see the simplification here. At the end, you get 2 power n equal to 2 power 22. You see here, 2 power n equal to 2 power 22. That means n equal to 22. So like that, the next one is also solved, where we get n equal to 0 here. The next problem, here a classless address is given. The address is given. You have to find the mask here. Number of addresses in the block, first address in the block, the last address in the block. Okay. So using this, you can either use this method or you can use the first one, this method. Okay. It's not mentioned. So I have used here the second method, that is using mask and performing AND and OR operations to find out first address and last address respectively. So now let us see how to, this is a given address that is converted into its binary, okay, equivalent, and prefix length is 27. It's given here. So here to here it is 27 till here. Okay. Remaining 5 bits are suffix. So how to find the mask? As mentioned earlier, n leftmost bits, that is 27 bits, are set to ones, and rest of the bits, how many here? 5, are set to zeros. So you have till here, you see 27 bits are 1, remaining 5 bits are 0. Now you convert each byte, each octet into its equivalent decimal number, you get 255. As I mentioned earlier, when all the bits are 1, you get 225. 225. So 225, 225, but the last octet here is 224. So this is a mask. Then the first address, how do you first find the first address? Given address and mask. You perform the AND operation between the given address and mask. So this is a given address. This is a given address. And this is the mask. What we have already got here. Perform the AND operation. Bitwise AND. You will get 167 here, you see, performing this bitwise AND operation. You get 199, 170, and 64. Carefully perform the bit AND operation and convert that into, finally, convert the address into hexadecimal equivalent. So this is the first address. The last address, how do you find the last address? Perform the OR operation between the given address and the not of mask. Not of mask. Okay. Here, this is the given address, and you see this is a not of mask. Okay. All bits of mask are inverted. Okay. Now, perform the OR operation here between them. You get here this one 167, 199, 170, 95. Okay, and the fourth question here, the last address in the block. How do you find the last address? That is n equal to not of mask plus 1. See here, this is till here, it is mask. Okay. Okay, this was then not of mask is this. Not of mask plus 1. Not of mask plus 1. Okay. So when you convert this till here, not of mask into its equivalent decimal number, you get 31. Okay, 31. Then plus 1, that is 32 addresses. Okay. So therefore, in this block, you have 32 addresses. So a beautiful example it is given. You can also find the same thing using another method. You can do that as a homework. Okay, that is using this method. This method, the first method. Okay, but you can do it as homework and try yourself. Now there is one more problem here. Change each of the following prefix lengths to a mask in the dotted decimal notation. Okay. Here it is given. The prefix length is given. Small n is given. You have to write that using the notation. That is mask. You have to find the mask here for that and write that using slash notation. So here, first case, it is, I have started with the third case here. So third case, n equal to 30. There are 30 bits. All are ones. The remaining 2 bits are 0. So it is 255, 255, 255. The last one is 252 slash 32. Sorry, 30. Why 30? Because prefix length is 30. Similarly, the second example, it is 14. First 14 bits are what? The remaining are zeros. So you get 255 here. Second octet is 252. Third octet is 0. Fourth octet is also 0. slash 30. Sorry, there's a wrong here.
It has to be 14.
Yeah, it should be 14. There's a correction. You need to do the correction. Okay. This is 14. 1, 4. Then similarly here also, I think, I'm sorry for that. So this should be 0 here. Okay. Students, please correct in your notes. Okay. Then change each of the following masks to a prefix length. Here the address is given. You need to find the prefix length. 255, 224, 00. See, 255. This is the binary equivalent. 224. This is the binary equivalent. Remaining you can 0, 0. You see here 8 plus 3. Total 11 ones are there here. Remaining all are zeros. So therefore, prefix length is 11. Similarly, the second example, prefix length is 10. Okay. I think, yeah, I will stop here because still, there's a subnet. The continuation of this is a subnet. And then how to allocate the subnet blocks. There are some numerical switches. And we will see that in the next class. Okay. So next class is on Thursday. Thursday again, Kumar sir, HOD sir will continue. Sir will continue at media access. Still one more session is required for that. It is again in the module 4. Sir will continue and complete that. So I will take next session on next Saturday. I will continue this IPv4 and further topics on Thursday. Okay. Now the students, if you have any doubt or if you want to repeat me any of the concept or problems, you can interact. You can unmute yourself and interact with me. Am I audible, students?
Sir, it's audible.
Yes, sir.